Oh my God, one of my favorite songs. I bet it is for you too, you guys, right? Don't you just love that song? Oh. So before we get started, big shout out and thanks here to Dina, who holds not just this production together for you all, but really everything over here at the Deborah King Center. And that was her music selection, by the way. So thank you, Dina. And I wanted to say welcome to everybody. Great to be with you guys. And, it's such a blessing to be here with you in this session 4. And we're really having such a good time together. They always say if you love what you do, you'll be happy. And I do love teaching. I'm enjoying this experience just as much as you are. So each time we come together, we really strengthen the field, that's holding this group. It's an energy field, all of its own. And, whether this is the first time you joining me live here or you've been to others in this series, know that you're part of this collective fabric that we're weaving together. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different this session. I think I told you this last session that I was going to bring on an interview, a live representative of the Divine Feminine, so that we don't think it's some far off thing, that it's, thousands of years ago. This is something that you can live and breathe right now. And I'll tell you more about that a little bit later here when I bring her on. And then I'll still have time for some questions for you. I will run over a bit today. This will be a little bit longer. Now, some of you may have already had time to look at the videos that come with this course, and not to worry if you haven't. Others of you may not even cracked them open. And both paths are just perfect, whichever. So this gathering, you probably have noticed, is not at all a repetition of the course content. It's completely different, isn't it? And it's a real living experience of it. It's a chance to work directly with the energy that we're exploring each session. So close your eyes for just a moment. We'll just make sure that we're in the frame of mind we want to be in, or frame of energy field. We'll just take a moment to kind of land together and go ahead and feel the chair you're sitting on, wherever you may be seated. Just let your hands rest wherever they're comfortable. Nothing to force here. Just bring your attention, the natural rhythm of your own breath, not trying to change it, just observing it. Just notice the rise and fall of your chest and the in and out of your breath. And notice any place you might feel uncomfortable. Could be anywhere in your body or your mind. Just take another deep breath. Just allow all those areas to soften gently, and you're just completely relaxed, and just feel the expansion in your chest as you relax more and breathe more deeply. Not even trying. You're just settling into your body. Now take your awareness to the center of your chest. That's your heart space. And just imagine a soft glowing light. It's beginning to glow there. It's steady, it's warm, it's welcoming. Now we're going to go back to this place throughout this session. We're going to focus on it, the space of your heart, and beyond it. We'll go to the higher heart. It's just above your heart. It's your soul seat. Taking another deep breath as you just sit in this light. Know how fully welcome you are here. Nothing you need to be or do. You just arrive. You just exactly as you are. All right, eyes open. Now we know we're all present. It's funny how that is, isn't it? That we race around and we kind of forget to bring ourselves. So this particular session, we're going to enter into a space of something really essential. It's the movement from personal emotion to divine love. And this session, I'm focusing on the energy of Mary, an archetype, Mary, a real historical figure, also called the Madonna. She has many names throughout the world. And she's not just a figure of religious devotion. I want to separate her from religion, if I may, because she's a living archetype of the divine feminine, and such a remarkable one that, 1,000 years later, we're still talking about her, right? And we're still, in some cases, connecting with her and embodying her. So Mary embodies, she embodies grace and steadfastness and compassion and the unwavering ability to continue to love through loss, through uncertainty, through change. So the energetic arc of this session is centered around your higher heart. It's also called the soul seat, and it's located just above your physical heart. It's right above it. It holds the capacity for unconditional love. It's not the reactive emotions that we all have when we have personal attachments that go askew. It's much larger. It's much more encompassing. It's love that sees with clear eyes and embraces everything. So whether you've spent time, again, with this week's video or not, the energy you're stepping into right now is available to you. It's the energy of love that does not shrink or contract in the face of pain. It's a love that can still stay open through sorrow. It's a love that recognizes the sacredness of all things, and not because they're perfect, but because they are real. So the journey today invites you to explore where your own higher heart may be ready to awaken. It invites you to feel the presence of the divine feminine. Again, not just in myth, not just in history, but in your own lived experience. I want to really encourage you to know that today. And it calls you to recognize that true spiritual maturity often begins not in joy, but in our willingness to remain open, even when life is asking something of us that's way more than we expected. You know how that is, right? So as you move deeper into this material with me today, allow yourself just to soften into it. Allow yourself to have the possibility that Mary's not a distant, far off figure, but a living presence, one that knows exactly how to meet you where you are so that you can embody her energy. So one of the great teachings that Mary offers us is how to hold the fullness of human experience without closing our heart. This is maybe the critical point of what I want to teach today. In many spiritual traditions, love is spoken about like it's blissful, it's elevated. But Mary's example shows us really that it's true divine love is not divorced from sorrow, not separate from grief, not apart from the realities of earthly life. It's through her story that we learn that love doesn't vanish when suffering arrives. It deepens, it expands, it becomes something far more powerful. So Mary loved without guarantee. She loved knowing loss was inevitable. She knew before she even became the mother of Jesus that she was going to have significant loss, right? She loved knowing that pain was going to find her, yet she still remained present. She remained open. She continued to radiate compassion, even in the devastating heartbreak that she had. The loss of a child, right? So in doing so, she became not only a spiritual guide, but a profound example of what it means to live with an awakened higher heart. So when we think about the divine feminine, and it has many forms, Mary stands as a bridge between human vulnerability and divine resilience. She shows us that strength is not found in how much we can avoid feeling. Strength is found in how deeply we are willing to remain connected, even when our hearts are broken. Her life reminds us that sorrow is not a detour on the path to awakening. Sorrow is the very terrain where love is made real. So, how many of us have been taught, consciously or unconsciously, that it's safer to harden ourselves after pain? Just stop and ask yourself for a second what your parents taught you in that regard. What did your mother and father do when they countered pain? Did they harden or did they soften? Because we learn from, example. We learn to numb, to distance ourselves, to protect, to use coping mechanisms like drugs and alcohol and so many other behaviors, right? To distance ourselves from our own painful thoughts. But Mary's energy invites a whole different response. Mary shows us that staying soft is not a weakness. I would never have described her as weak. Staying open is not naive to the truth. It takes extraordinary courage to love fully in a world like her life, where loss was guaranteed. It takes profound strength to feel, to grieve, and to choose love again. So as we work with Mary's energy today, allow yourself to notice where the impulse to close might arise, the impulse to close your heart. Notice where sorrow has maybe built a wall around your heart, and consider that what Mary offers is not an invitation to tear those walls down at all, but a hand extended through the cracks, right? A reminder that healing does not ask you to erase your wounds. Healing only asks that you be allowed to have love move through them. So it's a whole different vibe, right? A whole different way of proceeding. So let's talk about the higher heart now as the seat of spiritual devotion. After all, this is really a very spiritual course that we're studying together. So when we speak of the higher heart, we're talking about a center that holds a different quality of energy than your emotional heart. That's the one we're most familiar with. So the traditional heart chakra, which is in the center of your chest behind your breastbone, if we could have a locale for it, it's actually in the energy field that surrounds us and encompasses our body. That traditional heart chakra manages your personal relationships, your attachments, your emotional experiences. That heart helps you love and helps you be loved, helps you love yourself. But the higher heart, often called the soul seat, is the place where love moves way beyond the personal. It becomes universal, becomes devotional. So the higher heart is where you begin to experience love, not as a feeling that is transient, that comes and goes, but as a state of being. So it's where compassion arises without ever needing a reason. You may be sensing and experiencing that in yourself now. You may be watching TV and just be overwhelmed with compassion for something you see, someone half a world away that's suffering. I want to commend you if you've had this experience. I'm sure you have, because that's telling you your heart's open. It's where forgiveness becomes possible, not because we condone the harm, but because we recognize the larger tapestry of existence. Nothing's really simple, right? So in the higher heart, love is not reacting. It does not depend on how other people behave. It does not depend even on how we are treated. It simply is. So as we work with Mary's energy in this session, this is one of the great awakeners of this center. Her life, both filled with joy and suffering, demonstrates that what it means to remain rooted in devotion regardless of circumstances. It has to be regardless. So Mary's love for her son was unwavering, but so was her love for the world, even the world that was causing her all this pain. She did not retreat into bitterness or despair. Mary allowed her higher heart to remain open, even as the events of her life tested her again and again. I'm not going to dwell on the facts of Mary's life. I'm assuming you know them. They're kind of universally well known, right? So when we open our higher heart, we begin to participate in a different kind of love. It's not transactional. It's not emotional, not dependent. It's not based on whether we feel safe or seen or approved. Instead, it's a flowing current of energy that moves through us for its own sake, connecting us to the divine and to each other, in ways that transcend words. So this isn't a theoretical idea that I'm working with here. It's an energetic reality. I'm in the energy business. So it's an energetic reality you can experience, you can nurture, and I'm helping foster it right now, today. And it's not about denying human emotion or pretending that your pain doesn't exist at all. I'm not denying that. It's about building the capacity to hold all of it at once. We hold all of our love, our loss, our grief, our hope, all of it we hold at once. We hold it within a field of compassion that's so big, so wide, nothing needs to be excluded. We can include everyone and everything in it. So opening your higher heart is not a single moment. It's not like instant revelation. It's a path. It's the devotion in itself. And some days it'll feel easy to you, and other days it will feel impossible. But each small choice that you make to stay present, to choose love, to forgive, strengthens this center and aligns you more fully with this enduring strength of the kind of divine feminine that Mary represents. So now that we've talked about it, let's have a direct experience of it. I want you to get as comfortable as possible and close your eyes. And just allow your spine to be comfortable, whatever seated position works for you. Just have your hands resting gently anywhere they want to go. And if you'd rather, if you need to keep your eyes open, you might want to lower your gaze. And let's all begin by taking our attention again to the center of our chest. That's not just the physical heart. That's just, we're going to go a little above it now to the soul seat. So imagine that area, picture it, and feel it warming up gently, slightly, just like a small flame has been lit there. Steady flame, a safe flame, doesn't flicker. You're not for 1 minute worried it might go out. It's steady, it's enduring. Take a slow breath in and feel your breath travel up right to that area. And then just release it naturally. Now just invite the presence of Mary into your awareness. She may appear as a feeling, like a soft energy, or as a figure, if you're inclined that way. If you're inclined to see things, you might see a distant figure. You might see something more definite. You might hear something. You might smell something. There's no right way or wrong way to experience the presence of this divine feminine energy. And just sense her standing near you. or perhaps merged with you if you are already very connected to her. Feel the energy she brings. It's unconditional, unwavering, limitless, compassionate, loving, steadfast. You know, if you're comfortable, you can lean into that energy. But you don't have to do anything or be anything right now. You have nothing to prove. Just allow yourself to receive and be exactly who you are in the moment. And now ask yourself if you feel anything within, anywhere in your energy field or body that feels tense or guarded or blocked or hesitant to open. And just observe it. No need to force anything or ask for anything. We're just observing. And those blocked or slightly closed or protected places, just imagine that energy of Mary extending toward it. Perhaps her hand extending. Not to break anything open, but to simply hold it in her light. You're not being asked to surrender anything. You're being invited to soften ever so slightly. To soften into trust. So just rest here for a few breaths and breathe into that higher heart that you're feeling right now. You're breathing into possibility. You're breathing into a space where love and sorrow, tenderness and strength, they all belong. You can put your hand there if you like to help locate it, to help anchor your connection between your physical body and this soul seat. Take a few more breaths there. Let the energy of this unconditional love just weave through your system. It's gentle, it's patient, it's wise. Now let's slowly bring our awareness back to the room. Allow your eyes to open. We'll let in the light slowly. And I want you to know you can return to this feeling, this connection, this energy anytime. Mary's not outside of you. Your higher heart's not a distant ideal. It's alive inside of you. It's just needs your attention. All right. So, one of the hardest things, right, in life is to keep our heart open, don't you think? There's so many reasons we think to close it, from heartbreak to betrayal to loss to disappointment to fear, lots of reasons. And sometimes it just feels natural to close down and close it off. It feels safer. We protect ourselves. We're building walls. We're hardening against things that could hurt us. But the path of the divine feminine, as you're seeing in this course, is really different, isn't it? It does not ask us to deny our pain. It doesn't ask us to pretend it's not there. doesn't say suffering isn't real. It asks us to stay open in spite of it. And I'll be bringing you figure after figure after Mary. We'll go to Mary Magdalene. Figure after figure, you will find that they exemplify this, and they're living, breathing examples that we can integrate. You know, we have to remain available to continue to live even after we've been seriously wounded. We have to choose presence when it would be so much more appealing to retreat. So Mary's example really is a profound reminder of all of this. She experienced joy and loss that could have shattered anyone. I mean, if you just think about the agony she went through his walk to the cross and his time on the cross, and the whole thing must have just been incredibly painful for her and very public, very public. She watched him suffer and die, yet she still remained a beacon of unconditional love throughout the whole thing. She continued to serve, to nurture, and to hold the light for others. So she chose again and again not to close herself off, not to close her heart to the world. So again, this kind of openness, it's not weakness. It's not being passive. It's a deep, conscious strength that refuses to allow pain to have the final word. It's a fierce devotion to life. Not just when life feels good, but when life is just the opposite. So again, when you choose to keep your heart open, you are not denying that you got hurt. You are choosing to meet the hurt with something greater than fear, greater than resistance, greater than denial. You're choosing to let love be stronger than any defense. And every time you make that choice, even in little ways, you strengthen your soul's capacity to embody this divine feminine energy. And I grant you, there are going to be days when you think openness is just impossible. There may be moments when all you can do is barely breathe. And that is enough. That is enough in that moment. So again, staying open doesn't mean you're forcing yourself to feel something before you're ready. It means refusing to let hardness become your go-to immediate choice, your default setting. So from today on, I invite you really notice the moments when your heart wants to close. Don't judge them. Don't judge yourself ever adversely, but to witness them. Just offer yourself some compassion. And take what Mary offers. She offers a real steady, patient presence that says, you can stay soft, you can stay safe, you can love again. Now take a moment and just feel your body. Notice the quality of your heart space. Notice any shifts. There may have been a small shift here, right? So sometimes the work we do together, there'll be a real subtle shift, like a soft current beneath the surface before it fully comes into your view. Energy work is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's very subtle. In fact, I've noticed some of the most profound openings happen very quietly through willingness, not through any force. So today we've been working with some of the most tender and powerful aspects of the divine feminine. You know, we're talking about unconditional love, compassion through sorrow, presence without retreat. These qualities do not develop through just thinking about them. They are cultivated through repeated conscious acts of openness, even when it feels hard. So spend a little time reflecting after our time together today, and journaling sometimes can help, bring things to awareness. You might ask yourself, where do I notice my heart wants to close? What would it feel like to stay a little bit open in those circumstances? Is it a certain phone call or talking to a certain someone? I'm inclined to already start to feel edgy and need to close. Just ask yourself. Don't judge yourself harshly. Just observe. Remember, there's no pressure. The purpose of reflection is to stay in dialogue with your own higher heart. Keep the conversation open. Remain available to what life is revealing to you about your divine feminine presence. So growth in the higher heart, again, is not usually about a sudden dramatic shift. It's more likely a small, steady opening. I've noticed working with so many people, I've noticed this. So just take a second now and recognize all that you have just done, just here in this brief time together today. Intellectually, but more, I'm saying energetically. So every time you show up here with the willingness to listen and be open, even if what I'm talking about makes you feel a bit vulnerable, you are strengthening your connection to the divine feminine because those are her attributes. So let's place our hand gently over our heart right now to seal this energy we've opened. Let's all do that together. Just feel the warmth of your own hand. Feel the steady beating of your own heart. Sense a quiet presence that's there. And visualize again that soft light that's inside your chest. It definitely is there. I promise you, you have it. It glows. It radiates outward from yourself to others, putting them in a cocoon of, love and light. So that's the energy of your higher heart you're sensing right now. It's unwavering, it's spacious, it's alive. And in this field, let's all know Mary and her gifts and what she brings us and how she can be embodied by any one of us to various levels. It's not separate from you. It lives within you. It moves through you. It's part of your essential nature. So you don't have to strive, to become more loving. And you don't have to force yourself to be strong. The qualities you seek are already alive inside of you. They're waiting for your embrace. So I have real gratitude for spending this time with you on this particular activity. This is an activity we're doing. It's not something intellectual or cerebral. We're connecting with this unseen support that surrounds us. And with that in mind, I gently seal this space so that our openings will continue to unfold in perfect timing for you, right? And this love that you feel today, carry it forward. Carry it forward for yourself and into every area of your life. And so it is. So before I introduce my guest, I want to remind you there are additional materials and resources available to you on this course. There's video every week, every session, and there's a companion workbook. There's bonus materials. Whenever you have time for it, is the right time. And I also have a private Facebook group just for you all. And if you haven't yet joined, you could get the link to it in the Learning Center where you have the videos. These other materials are just designed to heighten your experience that we began here, to give you additional practices and a chance to come back to them again and again. So there's no rush. This is a spiral journey, not a linear one. Think of it that way. So you move at the pace that feels nourishing to you. All right, and without further ado, I want to introduce my grad teacher and practitioner, Cathy Gabrielsen, live to talk to us here about her own experience with the divine feminine. Hi, Cathy.
Hi,
welcome.
Deborah.
Hey, good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about you for a minute here, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. So I'll share with you guys that I think in the video that it comes with this session 4, you'll find I had an experience of the divine feminine where it was mind-blowing to me. I actually had an apparition of Mary, and before she came in the room, I smelled all these roses. And that was many, many years ago. And then, Cathy, at an event you were at, it was right after COVID. It was our first post-COVID event. It was in Ojai at a place called Rama. And you had dozens of events under your belt by then, dozens of workshops, and you were helping a guest. You may not remember this. It was the last day, it was Sunday, and we had moved from being outdoors where it was 110 degrees to this, I don't know, we were inside some kind of an auditorium. And it was the last moment of the last day, and you were working with the guest, and people were even folding chairs. I think they were pushing us out of the room at that moment. And all of a sudden, I smelled roses, and I'm looking around where Mary's here, who's carrying Mary, and I looked at you and I saw it, and I thought, oh my God, she has embodied the divine feminine. Uh, that I've only had that happen one other time now. Flash forward, it just happened to me last October with a student. So it's such a big deal for me. So I'm so excited about it. So tell us what in the world you went through when you were like, what, 18?
Yeah, I was
That
18.
started you on this path.
Yeah, I think I always knew I was going to be on a spiritual path, much like you and probably everybody here on this call. We kind of have some inkling that we might be doing some good work in this world, but it started when I was 18 on my whole spiritual journey. I was in a lot of people that I'm in classes with, or they know my story, but I was in a really horrific car accident. And some of the stuff that you were saying when you were talking about Mary and allowing the divine feminine to come in and through you, I resonated with. It was that suffering, how the suffering really opened the heart. And I was a really young, and I had a fairly good childhood. I didn't really have anything traumatic happen. And so I guess my cross was from the time I was 18 until the time I was 40, because we all have to carry one. It's, how do we carry it?
Well, hold on. They need to hear some details of that car accident, because
Okay.
that was not your regular car accident.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Not at
So,
all.
back, I'm sure, high school days, graduating high school was a big time for everybody. And it's a season now too. So, and my boyfriend and I were getting ready to graduate high school. We went to two private schools, and we were headed out to a house party. And, when you're 17, 18 years old, the house party is just when mom or dad goes out to dinner and you have a little gathering at the house for a few hours. And so we were on our way to this party, and it was a great night, beautiful fall night. We're well enough into our senior year to know where we're going to go to school or have an idea doing our applications. And we get to this house and this party, and, we weren't on the list. That happens sometimes, Deborah, you went to private school too, I think, you got to be on the list. And I wasn't on the list. I didn't go to the right all girls school at that time. So we left, and it was a house party, kids drinking. We hadn't been drinking. There was no alcohol involved at all in our car accident. But we were leaving this beautiful home, and we were going down a really windy road. And my boyfriend's name was Tim, and he started to go a little fast. And I think he was going fast because he thought the police were coming or something. Maybe I can't remember too much, but I remember him being scared. And I heard in the back of my head a really loud scream to put my seatbelt on. So I put my seatbelt on. And at the same time I put it on, I hollered out, put your seatbelt on. But he didn't. And I just remember going around a curve, and instead of taking the curve, we ended up going straight. Nice, beautiful pastures. We thought it was just all flat grass, but we fell down a ravine and fell down hard. He was going at a really fast speed, and we hit mud. We just kind of hit like a wall. And that night changed my life, brought me here today where I am with you all and with Deborah. But I had my first near-death experience then, never told anybody about it. And it's interesting, Deborah, because when I wrote my book with you, I always knew that I had an experience, and you read my story and you said you had a near-death experience. And you were actually the first person that I ever talked about it with. But you validated it, and I trusted you, and I was able to start to realize that whatever happened that night in that car was true. So we were in this ravine. Imagine mud everywhere, glass everywhere, blood everywhere. And my boyfriend was moaning, and he was dying next to me. And I knew I wasn't well. I was going in and out of awareness, screaming, crying, uncertain. I had a near-death experience that night. My boyfriend died, was resuscitated about 9 times, and he was airlifted and to a Philadelphia hospital, and I went to another hospital. And he ended up with a traumatic brain injury. I was in the hospital for about a week, but when I came out and learned of Tim, it was again a whole different world. No more college experience. I decided to stay local and be of service and stay with him in the hospital. I went to visit him every day. He lost the ability to do anything except blink his eyes for 20 years. Towards the end, he started to moan. And when I was on the other side, I'd never told anybody ever, because, taught to be humble and not too full of ourselves. But I knew that I was supposed to come back and help. I knew it. And when I was in the hospital with Tim, I thought, oh, here, this is where it's going to happen. So I would go every day, thinking that was going to be the day that I was going to be able to help him be there, do something that, I always believed one day he was going to talk. Always believed one day he would just wake up, like a soap opera story of a coma. You come out of it and you're okay. So, but he never did. And that was the beginning of my real dark night. I got breast cancer, no surprise.
At 32, right,
Yeah,
Cathy?
I was 32.
Crazy.
Yeah, 32.
You haven't even gotten over this, and you have breast cancer, but you have two little babies.
I had 2 little babies after about 6 years
It's a crazy story.
Yeah, after 6 years of being, the nurse, I slowly found my husband. He was an angel given to me, I swear, by God. And I kept my relationship with Tim and his family all those years. My kids knew him. I was a teacher. My students all knew him. He was always a part of my life until he wasn't. And when he died, I really, really, really tanked. I really felt like a failure. I just felt like a failure. And then I had breast cancer. I was sick. I was constantly getting sick, constantly having infections, and I just was got really, really, really sick. I was physically dying, and slowly, and I ended up having sepsis at 40 and a second near-death experience that was really profound.
Can I interrupt for just a minute? So. Yeah. I didn't know Cathy real well, and at some point she submitted a manuscript to my office because I occasionally will publish a book for someone, and I had the year before, and so she sends me this manuscript. I still remember it was a Sunday morning. I'm reading it. I didn't know her that well, and I called her up and I said, you've had 2 near-death experiences, maybe a third. You've got a great book in you.
Yeah.
And it, by the way, segue, it is a great book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So the second near-death experience, I was dying of sepsis, and I was actually I had sepsis, but what they didn't know at the time that I was bleeding internally. So my lungs kept filling up with blood, and so I was kind of having these like mini near-death experiences, I think, when I was in the hospital. And I remember one time, Deborah, when we were writing the book, and you were helping me, and you were editing it and checking out and helping me like with the structure and stuff. You just said there's too much. There's too much. We can't even.
I told you to delete something. Or it wouldn't be believable.
I know. I'm like, no, really, I was bleeding internally and had sepsis. Oh my God. So anyway, I had my second near-death experience, and I remember I was telling everybody I was dying. My mom said, no, you aren't. And I was. I knew I was because I had the experience before. And I thought by the time I was 40, I had started a nonprofit. I had talked with Tim. I worked at a convent and took care of the nuns. I mean, I was nonstop service, And when I got to heaven the second time and I went through, I thought there was like a welcome party. I'm in, I'm here this time. First time, no. Second time, yes. I lived the life, right? We were supposed to. And when I got there, I was just so happy, and, seeing angels and saints and family, and seeing Mary and seeing Jesus come to me. It was just music. It was just the most beautiful welcoming. And as
you get sent back.
Pardon me?
Sent back here. You got sent back here.
Got sent back.
Yeah,
and when I got sent back, I was traumatized. Yeah, because hello, I didn't get in heaven the second time. and the trauma was PTSD from the trauma of dying, and the trauma of coming back and not knowing why and
Yeah,
how to
but
figure it out.
yeah, flashing forward a bit, by the time I have you in my teaching program as at first a student and then a teacher, I mean, you really do embody the divine feminine. These folks want to know how'd you figure out how to do that? Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, I think we all do. She is our spiritual mother. We have a spiritual mother.
Hmm.
And she's our mother. We want a mom. You've got one, the most powerful one that will give you everything that you need. Um, I loved her from the time I was a little girl because she was just this beautiful woman mom, but so how do we do it? Um, I completely devoted myself to her. And you talked about the devotion opens the heart, and it was my devotion. It was falling apart and then realizing I had to get myself up. And I couldn't do it alone. I was tired of all the medication. I was tired of all that. And I realized I had to hand it over. I had to hand everything
Uh,
over to the spirit world because I knew that they were all there, especially her to help me, calling me, longing for me to want her, longing for us to want her. She wants to be loved because if we love ourselves and connect with her, then we bring other people to her. And the more people that we bring to her, the more love we bring to the world. We just ripple it out. We bring that love from her through her to everyone else. So I knew through prayers, meditation, and contemplation of what she was asking, and she was asking for me to give it to her, for us to give her the hardship, let her take it for us, everything.
well, you just said something really revealing, and it was my own experience too. Is that when we get out of push and we get into I give up, I'll just accept this kind of thing. I think that's the key here. I think that's when it happens.
The
Is that you
acceptance.
can, yeah, it's just accepting.
Yeah, acceptance, surrender, whatever it is. Okay,
Yeah,
here's the situation. I just have to accept it. She accepted her suffering with
right,
grace, you know.
right.
And I had to hand it over and I had to accept it. And, I had to forgive. I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive life. I had to forgive every experience. I had to forgive every person. I became so thankful for all the experiences. But I remember thinking this too. I wanted to connect with her so much. I knew that she would be my savior, really save me. And I thought about wanting so desperately to be with her, to connect with her at a different level. It was the yearning. She wants to connect with us. And when we want to, that yearning, our own yearning to do it, it even opens it up even more. But I looked at it like, I'm going to welcome her in my home. Me. I had some cleaning up to do. I wanted
Hmm.
I wanted her to be with me. I had to clean out my basement. I
Hmm.
had to clean up my
As a
home
metaphor, you're
as
using
a
that as a
metaphor.
metaphor for your feelings and state of being and
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
going on inside of you. Yeah,
yeah.
totally, Kathy.
If
Yeah.
I wanted to bring her in, I had to
Hmm.
clean up. I had to prepare my way
Well,
to clean.
yeah, I just want to tell everybody who's here that I got to tell you, Kathy's work when she's carrying the divine feminine, which she does for her clients, is really remarkable. And if you'd like to, you can work with Kathy. You can just go to my private session page. Dina will post it here for you in the chat. You can go there and you can get a session with her. And tell you, your work's really powerful,
Thank
Kathy.
you.
You're actually, yeah, you're actually carrying her energy. And I want to assure everybody, this isn't religion we're talking about. Now, Kathy's background happens to be Catholic, so you probably see that version of the divine feminine in your mind, right? But for you guys, it might be something else entirely. You might sense Isis, or Kuan Yin, or some other representative, or your own representative of the divine feminine. Remember, it's an energy, it's not a person. We're talking about a living historical figure right now that she and I are both pretty connected to. But for you, it could be someone else entirely. So, Kathy, tell us more.
Well, I'll say this,
about how you think you got here. That's what I really want to get for
how,
these guys.
yeah, how I think I got here was, well, just, I remember this course. I remember when I first took this course, and it was a,
Oh, this Awakened Divine Feminine course.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah, I
remember it.
launched it in 17,
Yeah, I remember taking this
2017.
course, and I
Hmm.
think I was fairly new. I think I joined your studies in 16, I think.
Hmm.
Late 16, but so I was ready. I was eager and I was yearning and I was learning. I was yearning for love, and who better to receive it from, you know? So I remember that course, and I remember I wanted to connect with the divine feminine. This course really, really, really struck a chord within me, and I didn't have it, but I wanted it. And the first thing I did was I pretended I was a child in her arms. And I looked at myself like she was holding me. I wanted to develop a relationship with her as my mom, and that I, as a mother, she could give me everything that I would need. And so I imagined myself being holding her, holding me in her arms. And I remember when I was a little kid, I always wanted my mom to come in and lay with me in bed, and she never did that because we were 5 kids under 5. Through my adult life, when I have a hard time sleeping or I'm struggling, I imagine that she's behind me in my bed, wrapping me in her mantle, hugging me and loving me. And it's that exchange of love. I've come to love her so much. And how do you get to that, to develop the close relationship with her, is be with her, be with her, be with her, be with
Hmm.
her. Use your imagination just like you're a little kid,
Hmm.
and that visualization
Totally.
is
Yeah.
just so powerful.
Yeah.
It's that's what they all spoke of, Avila and Saint, all those saints back about, contemplative prayer, contemplation. But those visions are real. They become very, very, very real and very
Yeah.
healing. And use your imagination of her being there with you, and helping you and taking it over. And another thing that you said, it was about that compassion. And suffering can stunt us, can stop us. We have a hard time loving ourselves. But if we continue the idea of just loving in general and being compassionate and still giving, it's still moving the heart. And I always wanted to show her how much I loved her, and treating her like I would a child as my mom. And so when I started to take walks out in nature, I collect flowers. I would take pictures of flowers. And in my mind, and in my heart, I was creating a spiritual bouquet. So at the end of every
Oh,
walk,
sweet.
I would give her a
Hmm.
bouquet. And then it turned into making spiritual crowns. And who was I making spiritual crowns with on my walk? And who were we presenting them to? And that's really powerful. But again, use the imagination as a child. It's so healing. It healed us as children then, and it can really heal us now
Hmm.
as adults.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. And guys, some of you may do this with a whole nother representative. It might not
Yeah.
be Cathy's vision of the divine feminine, it might be, yours. But I really wanted to have her speak to you because she's talking about little things she's doing on a daily basis and I've done the same thing all my life with the Christ light. I worked on it so hard, I finally merged with him.
Hmm.
And Kathy's merged with this divine feminine energy. And then the next thing I know, she can embody it and heal somebody using it.
Hmm.
So that's what I saw you do that day. I want to go back to that moment at Camp Rama because I looked and I saw you transmitting her. I saw it come straight down through you to this client, to this guest, and heal them. And I was like, okay,
Hmm.
boom.
Yeah. I
That's
remember that
it.
moment. I remember that
Mhm.
moment.
Do you? Oh,
But I remember my heart was so full of compassion for that woman.
uh-huh.
I,
Uh-huh.
I just felt
Uh-huh.
it. Her heart, she
Yeah.
wanted to heal so much.
Hmm.
But another thing too is, we want it. We want the connection, right? So everybody on this call, we all want that connection with our guides or with our whoever that force is. And that's great, but you have to need it. You have to need it.
Yeah.
You can want it
And you
so
have to go
much.
through the steps.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
trust that you actually need them more
Hmm.
than you want them,
Hmm.
and let them
Hmm.
come to you in the need. And you
Hmm.
said something else I was thinking about, just the suffering. And whoever your divine connection is with, female divine feminine connection is with, really get to know them and how they suffered, and be with them, and
Hmm.
and comfort them. So and I didn't do any of this because I thought, I'm going to be a little brown noser and I'm going to get to Mary and I'm going to do everything I can so she likes me. That wasn't it. I began to love her so much, but I wanted to be like her so much, and that means I had to walk like her. And what did she do? And one of the things when I would pray the rosary, I started to act as if I was alongside of her during her walk.
Oh,
so I was
interesting.
I was comforting her in the garden, and I was comforting her when we got crowned with her. So the whole decade of the suffering, that decade of the road. I mean, what I'm saying, the mystery,
Stations of the Cross.
mystery. It was like the sorrowful mystery, and the joyful mystery. Then being there with the joy of her birth of her child, but being with her. So that's another way that we can connect, because become their friend, become compassionate for them, and it's just
and as guys, as Cathy knows, and as I teach, if you look back in history, you'll see that all of the great people who were successful with energy healing, go that direction for a moment, they all learned how to manifest and merge with some divine force figure that works for them. So you have to pick the one that works for you. The one we're talking about so strongly today, of course, is the energy of Mary. And she manifests. There's Mary of Guadalupe, and there's the Mary of the Philippines, and there's the Black Madonna. I mean, there's dozens of variations of this energy. But somebody else may work for you. Maybe it's Magdalene or Isis. So you pick. But Cathy is explaining the actual daily steps that you can take to achieve this. So that's really helpful, Cathy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you guys, again, I see Dina's posted it here. If you want to work with Cathy, you can just click on the link. She's right at the top of the page there. And let's hear from some questions from you guys for us, for Cathy and myself. So who's got their hand in there? Wants to hear more. Oh, hi, Natasha.
Oh, Natasha.
I'm so glad to hear your surgery went well. Great. Your procedure went well, I hear.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm so happy to be here. And
Cathy.
Yes, I know Cathy very well. So good to see you, Cathy. I love your story.
You too, Natasha.
Yeah, I had a question for you. Is it possible to keep the emotional heart closed while your higher heart is open? Is that something do you see that in your clients, or what do you think?
I'll let Cathy answer that one.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So you said, is it possible to have the heart closed with the higher heart open?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the higher heart is that's your. Yeah, I think so. I think so, because our higher heart is the heart of compassion, to give, But that our heart chakra, mine was closed for years, but my higher heart was still giving love. I just wasn't receiving it. So I think that, to answer your question, my hunch is that yes, the higher heart is open with the intention of compassion and love, and I was giving it. I wasn't receiving it because my heart chakra was closed. But I don't know if that's what you think or not, Deborah. But that would be my.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
great to see you, Natasha.
Yeah.
Very good to see you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Somebody else? That was a good question.
Yeah.
Come on, you guys. Usually you have dozens of questions. Let me go look and see who's here. I'm on the wrong view. Tanya. Hi, Tanya. How are you today?
Hi, everybody. I'm very good today. And I think last week I talked to you, Deborah, about how I felt.
I remember.
And I just have to say, with the meditation that you did, I could just feel that light, and I could feel energy around me. And I think I had that same kind of thing where I feel like my heart is closed. Usually it's very open to everything, but because of some of the things that happened, I felt like this was closed, but this is opening. So I don't know, Cathy, if you have any suggestions for me or Deborah on just kind of, because I feel like, okay, I need to open it, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to, and just for some things that have happened. But I feel like there's an opening happening.
Before Cathy answers, Tanya, tell us where you are.
I'm in Cairo in Egypt.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel the connection to ISIS, like that's definitely, but I'm
Bet.
also, I was like a cradle Catholic too, and Mary and Jesus have always been like a big part of my life. But I really felt it with you and your story, Cathy. I had a kind of near-death experience too. I was in a bicycle hit by a car, and then I had a lot of stress, and I had a breast cancer situation about 3 years ago too. So, and you had actually called me once way back a couple of years ago that Deborah wanted me to join a program, but that I couldn't because I actually had just been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, I remember the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Weren't you living in Europe at the time?
I was in Cairo actually. It happened here.
Oh, you were already in Cairo. Yeah, I remember talking to you about it.
That was,
for
yes,
sure.
you talked to me in Germany. That's right. I went.
Yeah, you were in Europe. I remember because I remember thinking you had great medical care there.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, you remember that was 3.5 years ago. I just felt.
But back to your question. I'll let Cathy answer it.
Tanya, did you say that your heart chakra is closed? Is that what you're saying?
No, I feel like my heart, but on this particular situation, I feel I have a very open heart generally, but there's some stuff that happened that I've just like, but then I did feel like the previous caller was saying that this higher heart wants to open. I just feel
I get the idea that your heart chakras, you got a really amazing heart chakra. Yeah. But the block that you said, the stuff that you think that had happened, is that stuff, you mean the breast cancer, or you mean what other stuff?
No, just my mother passed away, and then there's just some things that happened that I found really difficult with my siblings.
Yeah.
I don't usually have problems with people, but
it feels like more grief and disappointment than anything, but you feel like you've got an amazing heart chakra. But the other thing too is that I had to resolve with myself was that it's actually okay to be angry and upset. Jesus got angry at the temple and flipped the tables for righteousness' sake. So it feels like you have such an amazing heart chakra that's so compassionate and kind and loving that you don't want to be angry. But I think
because I went this thing. I thought, okay, I can wake up and be compassionate, or I can be pissed off. And I was trying to be passionate at first, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'll be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but, I would just be okay. I would forgive yourself for being angry, because it feels like it feels like grief, and then it feels more disappointment for being angry, not wanting to be angry, not wanting to be upset or affected by something that's maybe feels like it's wrong and it wasn't the right decision. So honor the fact that you can be angry when somebody's not behaving correctly or doing something correctly. In your opinion, like I said, Jesus flipped the tables because merchants were taking advantage of people. And if you feel that people are being taken advantage of, it's okay for you to speak up for what's right, for what you believe in. Free yourself from that. But yeah, you've got amazing heart energy, I think. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. That's very helpful. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Good read, Cathy. That was really lovely. Yeah. And before I call on the next hand raised here, I want to give a big shout out here to our friend Cathy Hetwer, who's gone through medical bullshit. Sorry, I can't think of a better term for it these days. So, and she's such a big help here. So, and I know she has to leave a few minutes early. So, Kat, we're with you. We're totally on board and sending you good energy. Yeah. All right, Laura Madsen. Hi, Laura. How can we help you?
Hi, thank you. This is a beautiful story, Cathy. I really appreciate it, and I just love the previous caller, Tanya's your permission for her to be angry, because I think a lot of women struggle with that. I don't have an open heart because I'm angry, and it's not necessarily the case. It's because you have an open heart you're angry. You see clearly when you have an open heart. But one of the things, I've had 4 near-death experiences, and my last one was when I was, how old was I? 33. And I'm now 70, so I think they're all behind me, but they've all been amazing lessons. And one of them, I was 20, I had a very bad car accident, and I was in intensive care for a week. And I realized as before you came on, I think Deborah was talking about the difference between the emotional heart, and the higher heart. And where I'd had the injury, the steering wheel had come right into the higher heart. Like it was one of the life-threatening issues was the stretched aorta. So it was really right here. And I feel like my father's energy came in, and he did not like that heart. It was okay for me to have an emotional human heart, but I felt like my stamp or my imprint in this life was a more transpersonal heart. And I now teach what I call the Universal Heart series, because that's what I feel is the most nourishing. I haven't used the word divine feminine so much, but I know all my work is very feminine in its orientation. It's not about fixing anything. It's about being present for and allowing space for life to heal. So I just wondered if you had any comments about that. And I've had experiences. What drew me to Deborah's work was with beings with one eye when I was in a coma. The first near death was when I was 8. I was in a coma for 8 days, and they couldn't fly me out because I was from a small town. They couldn't drain the pressure on my brain. And when I finally came to, I looked at the woman beside me. They had 24-hour watch then, and because this would have been 1962, and I didn't know where I was, because this being had 2 eyes. Like I honestly was completely disoriented coming back into my body. And it took me a while because where I'd been, they had 1 eye, and I had flavors of all that. I felt like I'd been there many lifetimes, and then all of a sudden I'm on this. So my spiritual teacher, Thomas Hubel, has done some healing work, because it was a huge shock for me. I didn't know where I'd land. I didn't know. I didn't remember my family. I didn't know I had one here. So I think for me, orienting to this planet, I'm lucky that I have a fairly grounded body, just the structure of my lineage, I think. But it's been very difficult to know my place here. And I'm slowly finding it, fortunately, at my age. But I'm doing a doctorate as well on inner constellations, which is the Merkaba symbol. So there's a whole lot more to say. It's a big, long story, of course, like all our lives are. But I just wondered if you had any comments, or either of you.
Are you looking for Deborah or
either of you?
No, go ahead, Cathy.
Yeah. I was, as you were speaking, I was asking myself, why all those near-death experiences? Why did you have them?
Mm-hmm.
Has that brought any? Have you sat with that at all? And
yeah, I think they've all been beautiful in their own way, and they all seem to be reminders of why I'm here. I'm here for that dimension, the what you referred to as the other side. And I think I'm trying to go home in some way. Like my first experience, I literally was trying to follow my grandmother, I think, who was my grounder when I was 8. Like my mom wasn't home, so I went to her house, and then she died. So I think the first one was me trying to follow her, because it happened so like a month or 6 weeks after she had passed.
I guess as you're speaking, I think is important for all of us to remember is, as amazing as it is to be in the spirit world, we're here for a reason in this lifetime, in this body here on earth, and to be here and to come back and stay here and be grounded and be present, to be here, because we're going to go home to where our source anyway. But I think, are you an artist? Did you do all those paintings behind you there too?
Those are my daughters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was when she was 5, and the other one's more recent.
Yeah. No, I guess as you're speaking, I'm thinking again about the reason why you had them and how that's helping you in this lifetime. Not to go back to your grandmother, but how it's helping you
Yeah.
and what it's supposed to do here. And that's the journey of figuring that out. It's a lot of fun. Deborah
Yeah.
had 3 or 4 herself too, right, Deborah?
Yeah, I think they were reminders, and I do think I've worked with them pretty well. So they've been gifts, but
Yeah.
I feel so much resonance when Deborah named the higher heart is just so delicious. And so maybe like you, maybe my emotional heart, because of my relationship mainly with my father, who really didn't like who I was. I mean, I would try to talk about my mystical experiences when I was up till about age 7, and it would really make him mad. He didn't like my imprint. He didn't like my beingness, what I was connected to. So I think there's a great deal of pain of shutting down the human heart as well. So having that, so I can receive.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I shut down because I wasn't received, and it was a deep, deep wound on the human heart level. So separating those two is helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and keep loving yourself in spite of it, and maybe his not loving you the way that you needed to was for you to find the way to love yourself just as you needed to be.
Yes.
Oh, great comment, Cathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right on the energy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love having you here. Yeah. And how about Sandra? Hi, Sandra. I see your hand in the air. What city are you in?
Hi, I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Okay. How can we help you?
When I was young, when I was 10, I was in a dire circumstance, and there was another child dying with me. And I had the experience of the light coming down and through me and out to this child to be with them when they were dying. So I felt so connected. But I was in the group that my parents belonged to punished me so badly for bringing that light in and through for everybody else to see, that I was deeply ashamed of it. And I held on to it because it helped me stay alive through my difficult experiences. But I still I struggle with how to let myself have it and let myself have access to that love and that light. I feel ashamed of it, and I feel like I don't deserve it. And I know that those are lessons I learned from my family, but just trying to find that balance of self-forgiveness and being, so because I know it's there and I know it's with me, and it feels like it comes right through me and it goes into the ground, but kind of like more in a stabbing way and not like I refuse it for myself. And I struggle with that. And I wonder if you had any guidance you'd offer me.
I feel like still feels like a part of using the experience of the child in that shame,
I want to ask, was it a cult? Is that what I'm picking up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Cathy's right. You're still
very terrified. Terrified of letting it in for the being heard. But this is a choice that's all yours, Sandra. This is really a choice that's all yours to rise up and reclaim, because, it's not that we have to go to something to find something. The source is right there within us. It's just allowing ourselves to receive it and the flow of it to come through us. But it's all within you. And I know it sounds like I said it's your choice. And it's one of those things where it's easy for me to say it's your choice. And it's not going to like you're going to wake up tomorrow and be like, all right, I'm worthy of this. This is you loving you enough to tell yourself every single day that you're receiving it. And again, I always, I find helpful for myself to go back to those places where I left a piece of myself, like a very big piece of you feels like it's in the experience, but reclaim it. And you can reclaim it by allowing yourself to comfort the child that was in that moment and telling her she's safe. She's safe with you. You're safe. You're so light, but you just keep telling yourself there's nothing to be afraid of, because you've been called to carry it. That's why you received it. And so the choice is yours to reclaim it. And, we can't let those people continue to wound you by allowing them to have one of your greatest gifts.
I feel the light with me, and I feel it coming through me, and I feel its presence. And yet I'm so, because of my experiences in the violence, it's so terrifying to reach out and claim it. But you're right that thank you for telling me to comfort the parts.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that healing begins with awareness, and and if you know what you lost, and you know what's yours, and you know when it was, and so just love yourself, reclaim it, it's yours. Go back, don't relive the situation, but just go back and pick up that thing you left on the side of the road, bring it back, it's yours. And see yourself, use your imagination and call in the energy of Michael or whoever is a big, powerful force for you. And again, this is when we ask them to do it for us because we need them. You can be the scared little girl that's in there, but then have somebody help you claim it back. And then use your imagination and see it all coming back.
Yeah, good teaching, Cathy. Thank you, Sandra. We have time for one more. Chris, you have your hand in the air. Hi there. What city are you in, Chris? You're still muted. Hold on. There you go.
Okay. Iowa.
A city?
Elkader.
I know Elkader, yes. Yes.
Yeah. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Both of you.
Hi, Chris. So good to see you.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I guess I'm wondering who would felt like I've had a connection sort of to Mother Mary, but I felt it with some of the other ones too, or I just thought it. I'm not sure if thought felt. But I don't have any deep connection with them, and I guess I'm wondering which ones you think would be for me. I kind of go back. I've actually been doing, I think, fairly well, other than my mom passed away this fall, and it brought up memories of my dad. And when I was in your program, one of the things that happened was that I was in for a healing, and there was an entity or something that was within me. And I never, I guess I never heard who or what it was. And it kind of changed some of, like, I don't like to go to cemeteries really much anymore. And I had been helping at one, and I guess I thought it was maybe my dad. And I was just kind of wondering on that part of it too. Just.
Well, the fear is going to keep you away from everything.
I know it. And that's what bothers me. Yeah. So how do I get through that?
Well, do you think that was true? That what someone said you had an entity? Did you think how'd that feel to you?
I guess I really didn't know.
Yeah, well, I think that maybe let go, because we're all going to find a doctor or somebody at some point in time in our life that we might just not agree with all the time. And just because when they say something doesn't mean that we have to necessarily take it in as truth. We still have our own discernment. And so I think I would let go of whatever conversation that was, because it feels like it's holding you back a little bit, and you lost a little bit of trust and maybe got a little disempowered in it. I would let go of that and try to reclaim some of the power that you've lost over this time, wondering what it is that's within you, and go back to the emotions, go back to how you feel, because dark can be anything. Dark can be shame. Dark can be fear. Dark can be, anger. It can be all those lower emotions that reside in the first, second, and third. So maybe not so much an entity as much as there's a little dark emotion, a dark emotion, and it's not who you are. It's just like an exhaust that wants to come out of that car. Just let it go. and the more that you do that, you'll feel better. You'll clean your space for the queen like I did. And, it wasn't, allow yourself to allow for spirit to come to you and show you who you align with and who's there for you. Start to ask to receive the information and be with it. And I didn't necessarily think, oh, Mary, I'm going to pick her because she's the prettiest and I like her the most. And, I love her mantle. I really found that the other angels and saints and people that I felt like I aligned with, they were the ones that were aligned with her. So it's kind of like when you hang out with a friend, you get their friends, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, Padre Pio, he loved her. He had a devotion to her too. Oh, she had a devotion to her too. So I started to look at who I resonated with at the other levels, and the angels, where do they take you? Well, they come from her. So then clearly I must like the divine feminine, So yeah, but I would get out if I were you, Chris. I've known you. You're an amazing soul healer, human, and I would just let go of the idea that you have some dark entity and just move on in your own light and reclaim it and clear out the first, second, and third. That would be my.
Yeah, Cathy, right on. You're right on the button. Thank you so much. And Chris, yeah, I don't pick up any entity either. Just some, I don't know, feels like old shame.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Second.
And
So.
who among us doesn't have a bunch of that, right? Right. So you just have to, Cathy gave her the prescription to how to get rid of it. And it's the same for all of us. It really is. Well, thank you again, Cathy.
Thank you
really
so much. This was so
made this
fun.
to be, such a great session. And you guys, Mary Magdalene, the Magdalene is next session. She's another real powerful presence. I want to tell you all about her, and thanks for staying a little bit longer. I want to shout out. I see one of my oldest and dearest students here, Barbara Clark. Haven't seen you in a while, Barbara. Hi. So much fun for me. These are frankly, my children. You understand, the children in my programs, and I have a lot of children. I really do. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. Take care. See you next session. Thank you again, Cathy.